The more we try to control life, the more peace slips through our fingers. Have you ever felt like you're holding everything together with sheer willpower? Your job, your family, your reputation, even just trying to keep up this version of yourself that looks put together? But the harder you hold on, the more drained you feel. And sometimes the very things you're trying so hard to protect are the things quietly hurting you the most. Truth is, we're not really afraid of change. We're afraid of losing control. Afraid that if we let go, we'll fall. We won't know where we'll land or who we'll be. But here's the paradox. The pain doesn't come from the changes. It comes from our resistance to them. From the clinging, the tightening, the unwillingness to flow with life's natural movement. You're not breaking because things are shifting. You're hurting because deep down, you don't want to accept that they have a shift. So today, I want to invite you to pause, not to fix or figure anything out, not to add one more thing to your to-do list, but just to put something down, to let go, not as a sign of failure, but as a different kind of strength, the quiet strength that comes from softening at the right moment. Maybe you've been trying so hard to make everything work, and still, nothing feels quite right. If that's where you are right now, then maybe, just maybe, this message is what your heart's been waiting to hear. Part 1. The illusion of control, the tighter you grip, the more you lose. You don't need to control everything to find peace. Sometimes it's in the letting go that life finally starts moving again. There's a quiet paradox that plays out in many of our lives. We believe that the more we control, the safer we'll feel. That if we just hold tightly enough to the things we care about, our career, our relationships, our reputation, then maybe, just maybe, we won't lose them. But here's the truth. The tighter we hold, the more our hands start to ache. The more energy we pour into trying to keep things from slipping away, the more we actually begin to lose ourselves. Picture this. You're holding a handful of sand. If you squeeze too hard, it slips right through your fingers. But if you relax your grip just enough to let it rest gently in your palm, it stays. Hold, still, with you. Control, deep down, isn't really about strength. It's about fear. The fear that if we loosen our grip, everything will fall apart. In Buddhist teaching, there's a concept called non-attachment. It's not about giving up or not caring. It's about showing up fully, doing your best, without chaining yourself to the outcome. It means living with presence, not pressure. It means giving everything your heart, and still being okay if the result looks different from what you imagined. The truth is, so many of us spend our days bracing to make sure nothing falls apart, bracing to avoid disappointing anyone, bracing to keep life moving in a way that looks put together. But when was the last time you asked yourself, am I really living? Or am I just managing a performance? And here's what's even more surprising. When you begin to loosen the grip, not out of defeat, but out of wisdom, life begins to flow in a different way. You stop getting caught in the loop of this has to go exactly right. You stop reacting and start responding. And in that space, something softer, more grounded, and far more peaceful emerges. So what if, just for one day, you didn't interfere? What if you stopped trying to push life into your blueprint and simply let it unfold? Instead of rushing to fix or perfect, you just noticed, breathed, asked yourself, if I didn't try to control everything today, what might begin to heal on its own? You might be surprised. Some doors only open when we stop knocking. Some peace only comes when we stop demanding. And maybe, just maybe what you've been searching for this whole time isn't something out there. Maybe it's been within you all along, just waiting for you to let go. Part 2. Letting go is not weakness. It's a quiet form. Real strength doesn't always come from pushing through. It often comes from knowing when to let go. From the time we were young, most of us were taught, directly or not, that strength means never quitting. That resilience means pushing forward no matter what. That bravery means holding it together no matter how much it hurts. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, is holding on to everything really the smartest thing I can do? Somewhere along the way, letting go became a dirty phrase, something that sounded like failure, weakness, or giving up. But in truth, and especially through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, letting go is anything but passive. It's not about walking away in defeat. It's about choosing not to cling. It's an intentional act of clarity. It's the moment when you stop trying to force life into your mold and begin trusting that if something is meant for you, it will find its way back without being dragged. I once had someone say to me, "I did everything right, so why do I still feel lost?" There's no quick answer to that, but I've learned this. Sometimes it's not about doing more. Sometimes the real turning point comes when you finally stop trying so hard. It's like a lake. When the surface is constantly stirred, you can't see the bottom, but when it's still, clarity appears. Think for a moment about something you've been holding on to too tightly. A person, a job, a version of yourself that you've outgrown. And ask yourself honestly, is it feeding your soul or slowly draining it? Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some endings aren't punishments. They're invitations. Invitations to begin again, lighter, freer, no longer carrying what no longer fits. Letting go isn't the same as giving up. Letting go means returning things to where they belong, releasing what no longer aligns, so you can finally return to yourself. It's choosing to stop chasing and start breathing. So if today you're standing at that blurry edge, wondering whether to push through or walk away, know this: wisdom doesn't always show up as action. Sometimes it shows up as stillness. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is stop. Because maybe, just maybe, what you've been searching for this whole time isn't something to add. It's something you're finally ready to release. Part 3. When you stop overthinking, clarity begins. You're not stuck in your circumstances. You're stuck in the story your mind keeps replaying. There's a kind of exhaustion that's incredibly common, but we rarely call it by name. It's not the tiredness that comes from doing too much. It's the kind that comes from thinking too much. From the moment you wake up, your mind is running, replaying old conversations, worrying about things that haven't even happened, imagining every worst-case scenario like it's your full-time job. And we call it problem solving. But more often than not, it solves nothing. It's like stirring a glass of muddy water. The more you stir, the murkier it gets. Only when you leave it alone does it start to clear. Your mind works the same way. In Buddhist wisdom, this is called the monkey mind, constantly leaping from one branch to another, never pausing, never resting. And the more you chase answers through thought, the deeper you get pulled into the maze of your own mind. Ask yourself this: how many times have you found clarity not while thinking harder, but when you finally stopped thinking altogether? While you were in the shower, taking a quiet walk, or just sitting, doing absolutely nothing. That's not random. That's inner wisdom. It rises not when the mind is noisy, but when it's finally still enough to listen. So next time you feel trapped in a loop, overanalyzing, weighing every option until it hurts, try this instead. Stop. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath. Come back to this moment, not to escape, but to step out of the spiral your mind is spinning. You don't need one more thought. You need space. Space for your own clarity to surface. Try this. Place your hand over your heart and gently ask, does this really need to be solved with logic, or does it just need to be heard? You are not the noise in your head. You are the awareness underneath it, the spaciousness that can hold every emotion without getting stuck in any of them. And sometimes, just sometimes, the clearest voice you'll ever hear is the one that speaks through silence. Part 4. Love isn't about holding tightly, it's about letting gently. Sometimes, what suffocates a relationship isn't a lack of love, it's the pressure to make everything perfect. We often confuse love with holding on, care with control, especially when we love deeply. Our instinct is to protect it, to prove it, to make sure everything feels safe and secure. But here's the thing. Sometimes, the more we try to wrap something in bubble wrap, the less room it has to breathe, and slowly it starts to fade. Have you ever found yourself doing everything for someone, trying to anticipate their needs, sacrificing your own, bending in every direction to keep the peace, only to feel tired, worn out, like you're holding up the whole relationship on your shoulders? That's not love speaking. That's fear. Because love, real love, can't survive if it doesn't have space to breathe. In Buddhist wisdom, this is called attachment of the ego in relationships. When love turns into a subtle kind of possession, When our love gets tangled with our need for control or our need to be needed, we worry. If I'm not perfect, will they leave? If I'm not always there, will they forget me? But love isn't about always being present in every moment. It's about being present fully, without trying to hold or own. Love needs space, the way fire needs oxygen. You can't keep a flame alive by clenching it in your fists. You nurture it, and then let it burn in its own way. So maybe today, ask yourself gently, am I loving or managing? Am I caring or unintentionally controlling? These questions don't have easy answers, but they're honest ones. And through them, you begin to love with a lighter touch, with less gripping, less fear, and fewer expectations that someone else must fill what's empty in you. You don't have to be the one who holds everything together all the time. Sometimes just showing up quietly, kindly, and with your whole heart is enough for love to keep breathing on its own. Part 5. True freedom begins when you no longer need approval. You weren't born to please everyone. You were born to live as your truest self. From a very young age, we learn how to chase approval. A smile from a parent, a nod from a teacher, a compliment from a friend. Little by little, those moments start shaping how we see ourselves. No one explicitly teaches us this, but life subtly whispers, do well and you'll be loved. But somewhere down the road, you begin to realize no amount of praise, no gold star or pat on the back can fill the emptiness if you don't feel whole inside. You work hard. You strive to be perfect. You hit milestone after milestone. And still, something feels like it's missing. Why? Because when your sense of worth is tied to someone else's approval, it becomes fragile. The moment the praise fades, so does your peace. In Buddhist teachings, this is called external seeking, looking for validation, joy, or meaning outside of yourself. But that path, it has no finish line. There will always be someone who doesn't get you, always a standard you don't quite reach, always a voice saying, not enough. You might win approval today, but real freedom? That only comes when you no longer need it. Try this. Live one day without needing anyone to affirm your worth. No likes, no applause, no validation. Just doing what feels right, because it's right for you, even if no one notices, even if no one claps. And here's the twist. The moment you stop trying to be seen is often when people truly begin to see you, not for the image you've polished, but for the truth you've been carrying all along. Ask yourself, if no one cheered me on, would I still live this way? If no one acknowledged me, would I still believe I'm enough? If your answer is yes, then you've touched a kind of freedom that no one, not even the harshest critic, can take away. Because peace isn't found in their eyes. It's found in how gently you look at yourself. You don't need to control everything for life to be okay. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is to stop interfering. If you've made it this far, maybe something inside you is already beginning to shift, not in a loud or dramatic way, but like a quiet breeze brushing through your inner world, soft, steady, and true. And maybe it's whispering, you don't have to try so hard anymore. You don't have to try to become someone. You don't have to hold everything in place. You don't have to chase love, seek validation, or cling to some idea of what safety is supposed to look like. Because maybe, just maybe, real safety doesn't come from keeping things under control. It comes from knowing that even when things change, you will still be steady enough to meet whatever comes. Letting go isn't the end. It's a threshold. It's the space where control turns into trust, where endless effort gives way to real presence, where this has to be becomes let life unfold as it will. And here's what you'll start to see. What's truly meant for you won't disappear the moment you loosen your grip. It will stay, not because you force it to, but because it belongs. It's aligned. It fits, like a boat drifting with the current. It's not lost. It's just moving in the direction the river is asking it to go. And maybe, so are you, because in the end, the peace, the wholeness, the calm you've been chasing, it was never out there. It's always been right here, waiting for you to pause, to soften, to see that who you are has been enough all along. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment of surrender, and everything begins to fall into place.